If you ever feel like life's happening too fast and you've got no time to cry, you're in the right place. Hello and welcome back to the No Time to Cry podcast. I am just gonna be really blunt and honest. I feel like utter rubbish. I'm not well. I've got tonsillitis. Clearly, this is not going to be the most enjoyable podcast. As many of you will know, I've only just recovered from the flu. So I've gone from having flu for pretty much 2 weeks, having like 3 or 4 great days, and then I've now got a left tonsil the size of a golf ball. So that's fun. So yeah, if I sound a little bit different today, my body has essentially held some sort of coup and it's gone, yeah, you've been ill for 2 weeks. We gave you a little taste of what wellness feels like, and now you can have tonsillitis. So I'm going to try and keep this episode a little bit shorter, just for your ears, but also for my own well-being, because this has been a difficult one for me to try and organise and get recorded this week, but also edit, just because I am not feeling great. You guys can probably tell I've done my hair, because sometimes I feel like when you feel like death, if you don't quite look like you're dying, it makes you feel just an ever so smidgen better. So I'm trying to fool myself into being able to record something that is worth listening to. So I apologise if this ends up being absolute crap. Bear with me. I'm hoping I'm better later this week, and then obviously I can record something for next week. So if not, if I'm still really unwell next week, you may see a different face sat here. I might be asking for a little favour from someone to record, just to give me a little bit of a break to recover. But I am hoping that I feel a bit better. But I have got a contingency plan, because, we've got to do this, right? This has been a tough one. So I've got to try and make a plan just in case. And one thing you will all learn about me is I am a big fat hypocrite. I cannot follow my own advice. So I had the audacity to record an episode last week about boundaries, and I can't even hold to my own boundaries of my own body. So I essentially, this week is all about not listening to your body, not knowing how to rest, trying to push through, and then it essentially biting you on the bum. And I am crap at resting. You would have probably seen on my Instagram and stuff, if you follow us on Instagram, which if you don't, make sure you go ahead, follow us, subscribe to YouTube and Spotify and everything else. Little plug there. That I took when I had the flu, I stopped going to the gym for a couple of weeks, or I had some time off. I only trained once when I was in Dubai, and then I had a week off from training in the gym. That was really tough for me, but I did it because I was trying to get better, and I knew, to be honest, I didn't really have a choice. I had the flu. I tried to go on a couple of walks, and my body was just like, it felt like I'd climbed Mount Everest when I'd essentially walked for about half an hour. And as someone that's quite physically fit, I should, I know my boundaries, and I could kind of feel it on my chest and stuff. So those couple of days that I was feeling better, because I did some resting, I go from 1 to 100. So now I'm like, oh my God, I'm better. So I tried 2 new gym classes I've never tried before. I did a 10K walk. I went out for a brunch. I went back into the gym and was training. I went back to pole and was training. I was doing my steps every day. I was like, and don't get me wrong, when I went back to the gym, I was lifting slightly lighter. I wasn't necessarily pushing myself 100%, because I could still feel it a little bit on my chest. But I just can't. I'm so black and white. I can't do the middle. So either I'm going to rest and I'm not going to do anything. When I come back, I'm coming back at speed. And what's happened is, because I've done that, I've then got ill again. And now I'm going to have to rest properly, because, well, I don't really have a choice. So I am a hypocrite, because I'm the first one to say, rest, listen to your body. Your body, I think I've already said it on another episode. It might have even been the hormones ones. Like, your body tells you more than your brain does sometimes. But I am constantly pushing myself. And I've clearly just pushed a little bit too hard, hence why I've only been able to have a couple of days feeling better, and now I've ended up with tonsillitis, which I completely forgot existed because I haven't had that since I was a kid. But essentially my immunity was low because I've just fought off the flu, and then, it is what it is. Pushing myself to try and get back into the gym quickly and go back to normal, it felt like a quick win, but actually I've just pushed it back even further because I've just rushed. I've gone back too quick. I've done stuff too quickly because that's just how I am, and I've not learnt my lesson, essentially, in terms of resting and not feeling guilty for resting, which clearly is kind of built into my brain. I'm someone who doesn't sit still. I struggle to sit still. So when I have to, even if I'm not feeling well, there's some sort of guilt associated to that. I don't know why. And I don't even think it's completely conscious, because I think when I was speaking to people, I'm saying, I'm not rushing back. I'm going to take some time off properly this time. I'm going to make sure I'm better. And then it's almost like a competitiveness with myself. Like, even when I'm in the gym, I'm like, no, you can do more than that. You can push yourself harder. Yeah, you can when you're 100%, but you're not 100% yet. You've still got a little cough that you hadn't managed to get rid of. You were still having a bit of a snivel, but because your body's not aching anymore, you don't have a temperature, you're like, right, good, let's go. We're back ready to go. And, I think that goes not just in illness, but perhaps how I take on life and struggles and jobs and projects and whatever I'm doing. I don't really give myself much of a chance to breathe. So yeah, I just felt like being completely honest, because the timing was so ironic of me doing that boundaries episode last week. And even on that, when I'm editing it, I'm still like grabbing a tissue to blow my nose. So I knew I wasn't 100% well, but I felt well enough. And that's like, what is that? Well enough. Like, even mentally, when you think about your mental headspace, I think sometimes we settle in terms of, if you've been really depressed before, or you've suffered really badly with anxiety before, just because you're not in the pits of like depression or panic attacks and stuff like that, you're like, oh, well, I'm better than what I was. But is that what we're striving for, like, even mentally? Or would you rather be in a place where your mental headspace is strong? Hold on. I just think, like, part of being an adult is always, unfortunately, compromising something about your own well-being. And I going back to that boundaries episode, I obviously need to listen to my own advice, because I shouldn't be doing that. And that must be conditioned into us in some kind of way. I don't know if anybody else works from home, but since I've transitioned to working from home, and in this company I work from home permanently, and I've worked for the company nearly 3 years, I haven't taken a sick day in that time. And it's really funny, because I feel like sometimes people want to wear that as like a badge of honor. But I have been sick during that time. I've just kind of pushed through and worked, which actually is really funny, because my mindset when I'm speaking to colleagues, employees, whatever, is, if you're sick, you're sick. Your health and your family is more important than anything else. If there's something going on with your family, leave work, go and sort it. If there's something going on with your health, leave work, go and sort it. Get better, rest. I cannot take my own advice. When I had flu, worked through it. This week, I should probably be considering taking some time off because I've got tonsillitis. I won't. And I need to try and reprogram my brain around why I do that, because I don't judge others for taking that time. So I'm holding myself to a much higher standard than what I hold anyone else in my life, in terms of sickness and health and just most things. Actually, I think I've said it before, I'm probably my worst critic, and I don't know why I expect so much more from myself than I do from others. And I have spoke about it in therapy before, and, you know, maybe that's a kind of a tactic to get through life. And, you know, if you hold yourself to this really, really high account, then no one's really ever like disappointed in you or whatever. But I don't want to run myself into the ground, which in general, guys, I'm not really a sicky person. Jamie will probably laugh listening to that, because he has this joke where he says that I love COVID and stuff, because during the pandemic, I managed to catch COVID 3 times, and he had it once. And even then he was like, oh, he like pretends he didn't have it. He did. He tested positive. And even when I've been ill this week, he's like, I bet it's COVID because you love it. And I know we shouldn't make jokes. That was a really bad time for everybody. But in general, I wouldn't say I'm a sick person. I would say I'm not normally overly ill. But yeah, I've just really suffered in the last kind of coming into this year with sickness and stuff. And I have done previously. I'm not saying I'm never ill, but I'm not someone who's like sick every other month or every other week. It just kind of comes at certain times. And I was speaking to somebody the other day, and they said to me, you know, you must be really run down to get ill back to back. Like, are you stressed about things going on in work and stuff like that? And actually, I don't particularly feel like I am, but sometimes you need to listen to your body a little bit. And maybe I am a bit. Maybe that, you know, there's been some stuff with the wedding in the last couple of weeks, just like suppliers cancelling and stuff that have been booked for a long time. Obviously, I'm going through the voluntary redundancy process at work and what that looks like. I'm thinking about career. I've started the podcast back up. I've been on holiday. Again, all exciting stuff, but it's just a lot. So I don't know if I'm just, you know, like I said, maybe I need a week off recording next week, and we'll ask someone else to record. And there's maybe a little bit of guilt there as well. Like, would part of me have loved maybe not to have recorded that this week whilst I'm not feeling great? Yeah, but I think, again, it's me needing to program my brain about letting people down, because I ghosted the podcast for like 9 months, and now I'm back. Like, because my brain is so black and white, although I am quite self-aware because I've been in therapy, so I can kind of program. I can think about things, not necessarily in the moment, but I can dig into the way that my brain works. I think there's some guilt associated to me not wanting to take a break, which I need to make sure I don't hold on to too much, because I know you guys would never expect me to come and record when I'm not feeling well or stuff like that. But yeah, I just felt like I wanted to give you something to listen to this week, because I like the way that it's going. I like the way that it's growing. I don't want to not record. I don't want to not, you know, put stuff out there, but I do need to listen to my body a little bit and take a little bit of a rest. But hopefully I will be feeling better. I went to bed very, very early last night, trying to get some more rest in. I've got medication, so I'm going to take that, and hopefully some antibiotics work, although, you know, it could be viral, so maybe those antibiotics won't work, but I'm going to trust the process and hope that they will. But yeah, I'm going to do the TikTok of the week, and I'm going to, it's one of my own, because I'm going to put the TikTok of the week as the one where I did when I went back to the gym after being ill and said 2 weeks of rest doesn't ruin all of your progress. And I feel like I need to fucking listen to my own advice and not panic and not try and push myself. Now I've got tonsillitis to try and get back in the gym and do stuff, because it will be fine. I'm not going to, you know, it's not everything, not all the progress that I've made in the gym is going to fall apart in the next couple of weeks if I need to rest, or a week if I need to rest. So I'm using my own TikTok for TikTok of the week, not because I'm that self-absorbed and involved that I want you guys to watch my own TikToks. I need to listen to my own advice. So that is your TikTok of the week. If anybody else is feeling similar to me at the minute, maybe a bit run down, poorly back to back, maybe mentally just drained, which I'm not saying that's how I feel at the moment, but obviously being ill is not enjoyable for anyone. including you guys listening to my horrific voice right now. I don't want to feel guilty about having to rest. And I feel like maybe I do in some cases. So I'm trying to re-embed. As I say, I use this as my journal. So I'm using this as a teaching moment to myself to just, kind of prioritize me and have some better management of the most important asset that you have, which is yourself. And by not resting, I'm not managing that well. And it's like, maybe I need to, and my therapist says this to me all the time, sometimes I'm not as good of like the emotional reasons as to why I do that. So the logical reasons kind of sit better with me in terms of making it into something that I find understandable, which is you can't do anything if you're not in a good place or your body's not in a good place. So manage that. Make sure you're looking after it. Make sure you're treating it well. Make sure you've got it to the best place that you can be. And then it will kind of, it will manage itself as well. I don't know. I need to fucking go to sleep. I eat a lot of vegetables already, but more vitamins, more rest, less running around. I'm sleeping so much better this year as well. So isn't it funny? Because I've made so many like positive changes this year to try and look after myself, but trying to sleep more. I always drink a lot of water, to be fair, but like make sure I'm drinking all of my water, trying to get some more days, like more time in the day where I sit and just like absorb and things like that. But maybe I need to make some more radical changes than those little things. Like even the amount of sleep that I've got, I get like 7 hours sleep now, or on most nights, not always, but most nights. And for some people, that would be like their bare minimum. For me, that's like a massive achievement that I'm able to get like 7 to 7.5 hours sleep. So it could be that maybe some of these changes is just whacked my system out, and maybe that's why I just need to carry on working with them, and I'll see improvements over time rather than expecting like big changes overnight in some of the things I'm doing. Or it might mean that actually I need to make even bigger changes, and I need to be aiming for 8 hours as a minimum. I need to be having more rest days. I need to be drinking more water, doing more vitamins, doing more whatever. I don't know, but I'm trying not to give myself a hard time. It's not my fault that I'm ill. It could have been, I could have been resting. I could have been still got it. My immunity is obviously low. So yeah, it's one of those, guys. It's one of those. And I don't want you to join this and be like, oh, for fuck's sake, all she's done is moan for 20 minutes about being ill and giving herself a hard time. So like I say, I'm not looking for sympathy, but take this as a lesson. Be less like Shannon. Make sure that you're prioritizing yourself. Use this as an example of trying to do it all means that you end up not doing anything because you've not prioritized the right things. So, and like I said, this is going to be a short episode because I'm not sure I'll even want to listen to this back. So apologies in advance. But my thought of the week was probably similar to some of the things that I've said already. It's just like trying to shift my mindset slightly, and that we need to stop using rest as like something we've earned after you've reached like bottom or you've collapsed or whatever. Resting is fuel. It's not something that you only get once you've absolutely driven it down to the bone. And I that's similar to things I've said before around mentally, where I let myself get right to the wall, to the brink, and then go, whoa, you were so close to hitting that brick wall. Like, reel yourself back. Whereas, you can see the wall in the distance. Why are you letting yourself get an inch away? Rest shouldn't be something that I have to work for. It should be something that I fit into my life, as should all of you. And like I say, that could be mentally, it could be physically, it could be at work, it could be at home, it could be in any circumstance. You've got to try and just make it part of your day to day, but also you do have to rest more when you're not well or when you're mentally a bit more tired. And don't feel bad about it. I'm talking to myself here. Don't feel bad about it, but also like don't put it off for so long that it's a necessity. And I suppose that's probably similar to like what I was saying about boundaries last week, is don't get to a point where setting a boundary is a necessity because you've let things get to a point where, you know, you can't move on, or you can't live your life the way that you want to. I suppose rest is part of that, right? It's a boundary in itself. And that's why I say, like, the hypocrisy of me sat here going like boundaries are so important. And then, you know, I'm not even setting them for my own body. So yeah, that's my thought of the week. I am really gonna cut it there because I feel like I'm being held hostage by my own throat. And my body is quite literally telling me enough's enough, take some space. So I'm sorry this is a short episode this week. Hopefully you guys can be really understanding as to why, and I know you all will be. I don't know why I'm kind of making a big deal out of it. It's not that deep. And if you don't see me next week, it's because this has taken longer to recover from than I wanted it to. But I'm sure it'll be a good episode if it's not me. And yeah, I just hope you're all really well. I mean, if I can't listen to my own advice, like, at least you guys try and listen to it and learn from my mistakes. Take care of yourselves. You know, make sure you're telling your friends and family as well if they're Shannon, you know, rest. Give yourself a break. Cut yourself some slack. You know, you're not that important. The world's not gonna fall apart. And that is a real like direction to myself. And, you know, people will live if you need to rest and you can't meet up with them and you can't do all the things that you've said that you want to do. So, you know, try and prioritize yourselves. And I hope you're all well. I hope you're all doing okay. I know quite a few people that are poorly at the minute. So there's definitely something in the water. Maybe it's just all of us have tried to go into the new year, big bang. We were all having a little bit of a reality check. Sorry, that was disgusting. Couldn't even finish the word. And I would have cut as much of that out as possible in terms of that cough to try and, you know, save your ears. I'm irritating myself at this point, so I am actually going to go. But I hope you're all well. Have a great week. Hopefully I'm back next week. Follow, subscribe. You know, if you want to like this episode, you can do. I don't imagine it's been the most enjoyable. I'm making myself depressed listening to it. So yeah, have a very good week. I hope you're all doing good, and I'll see you all soon.